guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. It's a big week for Run Pure members across both NBA and NFL. Let's get into the winners. In the NBA streets, Bowl 800 turned $12 into 4K. C. Corms turned $76 into 4K as well. Leroy hit for $4,600, while Y Guy 223 shipped for $12,000. Our guy AP joined in the fun, hitting for $8,000. Turning to NFL, it was another great week for us, especially when it came to Showdown. I parlayed my appearance on our premium Thursday night Print Factory show into 61K, featuring a lineup with Dallas Goedert in the captain spot. RPS coordinators were all over the Goedert captain play, appearing not only in my premium attack plan, but Mangone pushed it as well, helping Nadesify ship for over 67K, while Pete Vegas hit for $7,200 over on FanDuel. But the biggest hit came on Monday Night Showdown, where RPS content was all over Kenyon Drake in the captain spot. Captain Drake was pushed on our free Showdown show by special guest Chris Randone, in addition to our Talking Touchdown show with Spread, Tyler, and Title, where Tyler called his shot, nailing the Drake call ahead of shipping $29,000 for himself.
75% of carries, like he's going to be unowned, like low owned because of his price. He's got to be even more low owned as a captain because his price jumps even more. If he scores 2 touchdowns in this one, you could be golden.
Guys, if you have not subscribed to our free YouTube channel, take a second right now and get it done. Racer1A joined in with a 10K hit from Showdown. Kanoski69 hit for 22K as well. Locks rode Drake Captain to a 30K score to continue his heater, while I shipped 2 more King of the Beach seats. But the biggest win was by Run Pure member Homebrew, who hit the perfect unique lineup, solo shipping for a monster $500,000. He joined our NFL First Look show to talk about his big night.
Randone just mentioned at the end of the show, the very end, it was the last lineup I made. It was the end of the show, and he said, Kenyon Drake, captain. And I was like, well, I don't have one of those. Let me make one of those.
Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. And while you're watching, hit that like button right now. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Until next time, let's keep running pure.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday, NBA Hardwood show, talking some hoop, 7-game slate, joined by my guys, AP Hoop. We had the NFL Showdown show before this. We had the NBA Rundown show on the bet side. We talked some touchdowns with Spread, Tyler, myself in the NFL street. So many shows already going on today. We have the Up to Lock show, as always. Big night in sports, as always, on Mondays. Football, basketball. Excited to dive in, talk some winners on this slate. Hoop, I'll throw it over to you first. How was your weekend? How was your NFL Sunday? We were talking the MMA late swap situation before. We don't need to spend too much time on that, but what's going on, Hoop?
Main slate yesterday, not great. Just didn't have the right combinations on a lot of the right guys. Just didn't have the right combos. Did really well in Showdown. I was up there winning or at least tied for the win in the big 3K for I don't know, it was like 60,000, and then the Herbert interception at the end, someone passed. So I still basically, I think, like doubled my money, but it could have been like a massive Showdown win. Yesterday was good overall. The MMA stuff, I mean, man, super disappointing that the late swap addition to the product. It just I'd call myself someone that plays UFC or MMA DFS for entertainment purposes with the chance to potentially win some money. I can still watch it for entertainment purposes, but with the new rules, I don't have the chance to win in 150 anymore. It's just a massive advantage. These computer nerds are going to have this thing figured out by the end of the week. The ability to late swap all throughout the slate, updated ownership all throughout the slate. I'm not smart enough to do that, and I wouldn't do it on a fucking Saturday night. I promise you that. I got other things to do on Saturday night besides tinker with my MMA lineup. So unfortunately, it takes a player like me out of the mix for MMA because Title, like you kind of got me into it, and I really liked it. You and I basically talk every Saturday MMA going through the slate. We're gonna lose that, unfortunately, I think, because your boys got to dip out.
You're not the only one dipping. I'll be in the streets. I'll mainly be in the cash streets. It sucks, but my 150 days, I 150 to every slate the past like 2 years or whatever. I'm out as well. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not one of those computer nerds that know how to make a model, that know how to do this with the ownership, that'll do this with it's just so much now. I reach out to the rep. If you have a rep out there, DraftKings support. If you don't like the move, you can always reach out. A lot of negative feedback, but yeah. It's MMA. That was one of the sports that I went heavy in GPPs. Most sports I'm known as a cash player. Yeah, I might just be a cash MMA player now, or one entry something. It's unfortunate for sure, but hey, that's it's out of our control. AP, you're not in the MMA streets, so that doesn't affect you. Saturday, Sunday, you're in the hoop streets, and you guys have been crushing the weekends in the NBA. Mango, and I'll shout out him. Huge win for himself. A lot of good weekend NBA stuff. It's not just NFL. It's not just college football. So much sports over here on the weekends at Run Pier. What's going on? How was your NFL weekend? NBA, the slate? What are your thoughts, AP?
Yeah, NFL was okay. It could have been really good. I got on the Bills Vikings game. I was very high on Justin Jefferson. 2% owned. Again, telling you, it's crazy. We talk about it each and every week.
He was 2%.
2%. Yeah. And all my I was in
I
bunch in the 3-3-3.
Yeah, I played him at like 10%. I didn't realize he was only 2%. Wow.
I bumped them up to, I think I had 50% of them. I had Stephon Diggs. I had Gabe Davis. My problem, though, is I had a ton of Josh Allen. I went heavy Josh Allen, and I got hit. He was 2-3% on too. And Justin Fields, man, sometimes I know hindsight's 20/20, and I know we got to correlate, we got to do all of that and stuff. But sometimes when you get these guys that are just flowing, they're finding a groove like Fields, you got to find a way just to play him. Like I should have just paired him with Kmet, his tight end, and then stacked up that Bills game. Would have been the absolute nuts. And then Tito, you'll make fun of me. I got I was heavy on the wrong Packers rookie receiver. I had Toure and not Watson. Yeah. Oh, it was so hurtful. Could have been a really monster week, but it was fine. Nothing to complain about. But man, how about Embiid yesterday? That was, if you're watching football, you probably missed that, but the dude put up 100 piece over on DraftKings. Phenomenal game from him.
Yeah, that definitely crazy. I mean, no one really saw the Christian Watson game going. Four catches, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's tough, but AP sounds like a good day. Both you guys sounds like a lot better Sunday than I had. But that's all right. We got money to make it up. We got Showdown. We got NBA. I think it's a pretty good 7-game slate. What are your thoughts initially, AP? We don't have to be on our computer. It looks like too much. All the games except one, 8 p.m. Eastern or below or before. So that's nice. Any initial thoughts on the slate? Waiting on some injury news though, AP. What are your thoughts, quick?
Yeah, it's lining up to be a nice slate. A lot of key news. We already got some of it, but some of it we still have yet to get. Paulo questionable. We already got Fred VanVleet out in the early window. Cade is already out. And then, in the later games too, Klay Thompson's out. Nice matchup there against the Spurs. I mean, it sets up to be a really good slate. I do think, I ran a bunch of different, if you have a membership with us and if you have SaberSim, I always like to midday or in the morning go in there and just use the cash settings and use whatever the projections are, just get an idea of where the slate is headed. And it'll give you a good idea of what the builds are going to look like from a cash standpoint. As we know with NBA, a lot of cash plays are also good tournament plays too. So it's all about mixing and matching. And I think it's going to be a really good slate. And I'm just really curious once we get to the Clippers game, what your guys' thoughts are going to be, because the matchups never going to be better. And Paul George and Reggie Jackson, these guys were not hitting or even close to hitting any of those builds. So it'd be good to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, we'll get there. A lot of the reason they aren't hitting too much. We'll dive into the slate very shortly, but the slate overview, it's a lot of Toronto. Toronto is thin. NBA is all about opportunities. A lot of bodies missing. We know The rotations for Toronto are always good as well. So yeah, Toronto is where a lot of people, the chalk's going to be, and that's where the opto and the projections are jamming the most of. Before we go game by game though, got to shout out some people in YouTube chat. We got Ralph, Kale, Nadesify, Cesar Martinez, Matty Ice, Gary, Patrick Rice, Humble Braggs. We got Gator Nation, Snyder, Drew Carpenter, Kevin, Veezer. We appreciate all of you hanging out with us. Spencer Smith, as always, do us a favor, hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. Always helps out a ton. But we got 7 games. I say we dive right into it. I talked about Toronto. They are the first game of the night. Toronto Raptors taking on the Detroit Pistons. 219 total. Toronto is favored by 4.5. On the Toronto side, Siakam, Van Vliet, Trent, and Precious Achiuwa are all out. Kem Birch is questionable. 4 very big pieces in their rotation. As far as Detroit, Corey Joseph's questionable. Cade Cunningham is out. So a lot of news in this game to start. The Toronto side, I think I'm going to expect Malachi Flynn to start, but we'll get that news before lock. We do not know for sure. A lot of options: Scotty Barnes, OG, Thad Young, Chris Boucher. A lot of good pieces, I think, on Toronto. How many is too many? I'm going to ask both of you. Then on the Detroit side, I mean, without Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes, I think this game you definitely cannot ignore. AP, I'll start with you. How many Toronto's too many? Who are some of your favorites? And any Detroit you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the question. How many is too many? I mean, it just depends, because there's going to be a couple good spots, but as you said, none better than this. So, I mean, it's starting with Malachi Flynn. One, we need the starting lineup. We don't have that yet. I think in their last start, they went with a pretty big lineup. And then I think it was actually Juancho that was the first guy off and in, and then Boucher, who's been absolutely lighting it up. So I don't know. The interesting thing here is like Scotty Barnes and OG at their price tags. They haven't, like, especially Scotty Barnes. Like, man, you would think that he would be crushing in these spots, especially in their last 2 games against Indy and against OKC, but that was not the case. And against Houston, the game before that. So I'm really curious.
He hasn't made shots, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, a shot. No,
4 for 16, 5 for 13. Yeah, he's got to.
What I'm getting at, though, Title, is I wonder where his ownership's going to be, because there are stud opportunities on the slate. Paul George, Giannis, Curry, all very, very, very strong plays. And so what I'm doing, I'm looking at the value here. I have a ton of interest in this game, but mainly in the value, because I think it's going to allow me to load up on multiple studs later. I think that's the path. So I think I'm going to keep my projections kind of in line on Scotty Barnes and OG, maybe slightly under project them if I think the projections are a little aggressive. And then I'm going to bump up guys. I'd probably just lock in guys like Thad Young. And then, Malachi Flynn, he came in and was absolutely balling and then didn't do much. I believe it was like late in the 3rd and 4th quarter in that game against Indy. But I think it was the 2nd quarter when he came in, he was definitely a spark off the bench. If he gets the start, man, we all we remember what he did last year. The dude put up some huge numbers. So I'd have interest in him or Banton. I think are going to be fine. Banton, obviously the lower owned guy. We need a starting lineup though. And then on the other side, it's Jaden Ivey. This kid, he's going to be good, man. Pistons, I think the future's bright. Move on from Dwayne Casey, because I don't know. I think he's a donkey. I know other people. I've gotten into many arguments in the Discord about this. I think he's a donkey. Yeah, the players all like him because he plays all of them. He plays every single one on their bench. Of course they like him. So I don't know, but a lot of talent here, especially Jaden Ivey. He's definitely one of them. Ton of interest in him tonight.
Yep, I like that. Hoop. I mean, man, this Raptors team, how many is too many? AP mentioned, we've seen Malachi Flynn in the spot start for years now, what it feels like. Plenty last year. I mean, Otto Porter, talk about him. He played a season high in minutes last game. There's a lot of value in this one. There is expensive. OG, Scotty Barnes, talk about what you're doing with the Raptors side and any Pistons for you.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best overall game on the slate in terms of number of playable guys for DFS purposes. I mean, we have significant injuries on both sides, like you guys covered. Really good price tags on, quite a few guys. Malachi Flynn at 3.2K. That's going to be very tough to ignore on the slate. Otto Porter, Thad Young, Chris Boucher, all very, very strong options and cheap for the most part. I still have to play Barnes and OG. Yeah, obviously they're a little more expensive. 8K for Barnes, 7.4 for OG. I mean, how many is too many? I mean, in tournaments, you probably want to stick to maybe like 3 in cash games. And you could probably play 4 of these guys if you wanted. On the Pistons side, Jaden Ivey, Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes as well. I mean, Hayes played 35 minutes, 33 fantasy points. He's 4-4. The nice thing about this game, if it stays close, which, it's 4.5 point spread, a lot of these guys are going to do well. And then you get the back and forth. And I want to be heavy on this game, very heavy. We have all the news in this one. I don't think we're really waiting on anything, just pulling this up. We're not
just
really
starting lineup.
Yeah, just starting lineup. So it's a good game to be heavy on. It could be, we always joke around about, BigT 777, Hoop 7, whatever it's going to be. Like, I want to be the 777 up top because I'm going to have a lot of pieces in this game. I could even see like playing Bojan or something. I mean, he had a 41 fantasy point game last time out. So I want a lot of pieces here. Hope the game's close, and then we just kind of print. So this is the premier game for me on the slate.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. I think it's also the premier game. As we mentioned, when you get injuries in NBA DFS, you know where the opportunity is going. You get cheap price tags. There's nothing better than a 3.2K guy sliding into the starting lineup to allow you to jam in studs. So you definitely cannot ignore this game. But 6 of the 7 games lock at least an hour after lock, 8 p.m. Eastern. 6 of the games lock then or before. So we should get most of the news that we are waiting on. But that's the Pistons and the Raptors. You definitely cannot ignore this game. And I'll say I think you can play 4 in tournaments if they're like Otto Porter, Thad Young, Malachi Flynn. Like, they're just so cheap. You really don't need too much for them. So I will say 4 max, but that doesn't mean you can. I don't think you can go like OG, Scotty Barnes, Chris Boucher. Like, maybe those 3 I wouldn't play together since they are more expensive. But I think you can load up on the Raptors for sure. That's the first game of the night. Let's get to the next game. The second game that locks at 7 p.m. Eastern. Charlotte Hornets, Orlando Magic. 224.5 total. Charlotte is favored by 1. On the injury report, Orlando side, Paulo is questionable. Very, very big news. Obviously, their best player in Orlando. If he's ruled out, Chuma Okeke, I'd assume, slides back into the starting lineup. As far as Charlotte, LaMelo is back. Gordon Hayward is still out. Dennis Smith Jr. is doubtful. Cody Martin is out as well. Hoop, I'll go back to you in this one. What does LaMelo being back do for the Charlotte Hornets team? Then talk about the Paulo news. If he's in, what does that mean? If he's out, what does that mean? Break down this game for us. Hoop.
LaMelo being back kind of takes these guys out of play. I mean, we're playing Hornets, I'd say, for majority of the season. Him back, it takes away from a lot of these guys. And to me, there's no one really standing out on the Charlotte side as being playable. We have significant injury news on the slate. We have studs to pay up for. So it's a team that I'll be off. And then we kind of need to wait on Orlando and see what's going on with Paulo. Like you said, Okeke, if Paulo is ruled out, played 30 minutes last game, 31 before that. He's a guy that we can add to that value bucket. 4.8K. It's not dirt cheap, but cheap enough to put him in play. So yeah, this game is just not great for fantasy. No Hornets, and then maybe some Magic guys, depending on what Paulo's status is here.
Yeah, AP, going to you. Tatum, you're always interested, but man, 10.8K, that price tag's up there. Jaylen Brown still 8.5. I prefer him with the price decrease. What am I doing? I'm looking at this. Okay,
I thought I was talking about the wrong game for a second.
I had a good thing. I was gonna all prep.
We're not moving on.
I was gonna say, come on, title.
I look over and I'm on the wrong game for that. Dang, I was getting excited about that because I think there's a couple pieces. Back to Charlotte, Orlando.
You had me because I thought I was talking about the wrong game for him. And I was like, oh shit.
I was like 5 seconds. I was like, all right. So back to the Orlando game.
Yeah.
Paulo's out. Franz set below 7K. That's the only thing I mainly need you to touch on. But talk about this news and then what you like in this one.
Wait, you said he's out, or
no? I said if he's out.
If he's
that's
out,
the price tag. That's the price tag that stands out to me.
The first thing we got to address is, I mean, would you ever have believed that this Orlando Magic team, would beat the Suns, the Mavericks, and the Warriors all within their first month of play? I mean, pretty impressive that they have those wins booked, and the last one against the Suns was without Paulo. So I mean, there's
I
something
love
to
the
be
team
said.
they got.
The big lineup,
so long. I love what they're
Who's
doing.
the guy that the short guy, their short point guard, where like it wasn't Apollo that came out and said, yeah, we would play better like if we didn't have you on the team and if we win all big. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know what you're.
I forget who. Anyways, it's a moot point. But anyways, you got to like how this team's playing. They've already beat this Hornets team at home, 113-93 earlier this season. A couple things. I think this is actually really significant news that we got to keep an eye on. And the main reason is with LaMelo back, and it didn't look like he was going to be under any restrictions last game, got into some foul trouble early. I'm not saying I like LaMelo here. I do think maybe in 150 formats or large field stuff, LaMelo Ball is always going to be interesting, especially in a matchup like this. If you think he's going to get the minutes, which if he doesn't get into foul trouble, maybe he does hit 34, 35, 36 minutes. But I think the Magic side is really interesting, especially if Paulo's out. The one thing that Ball does is he helps from a pace standpoint. He's always pushing it in transition. That's going to create more opportunities for the Orlando Magic side. So keep an eye on that side of it. I think you can go, honestly, if Paulo's out, I think Jalen Suggs becomes an awesome play. I think Wendell Carter, bigs against this Hornets team, I think he's fine. I think in tournaments, Bull, maybe you could go to him. A lot of different ways that you could go here if Paulo's out. If Paulo is in, it's just so many mouths to feed on both sides. I think we just kind of fade this game, and I'm very comfortable with that.
Were you talking about Cole Anthony, their own point guard?
Cole Anthony, yeah, Cole Anthony. Isn't he like? I mean, he's taller than me, but
no, he's not. Yeah,
short,
he's not very
short
tall.
relative to all the other players. There.
Yeah.
What is he? 6'2"?
I would definitely take the under. Let's see what Google has him at. Google always adds a couple inches.
I'll get it for you. Well,
6'3". There is no chance he's 6'3".
No, I thought Paulo
like
came out and said
something.
like that he was playing NBA. What's the game? 2K NBA
2K, yeah.
2K. And he goes all big and leaves Cole Anthony on the bench.
Gotcha. That's what you. Yeah. I mean, it's smart. You get just both. Their lineup is so 6'3", though. I will definitely take the under. However, going back to important news, Trey Jones was just ruled out a couple minutes ago. We'll get to that Spurs game. It is at 10 p.m. Eastern, so that's the game that's on an island. But Trey Jones has been playing a big role on this team. Shorthanded, we'll get to that game, but I mean, I thought the Warriors side was interesting. I didn't have as much interest on the Spurs side. I think that changes, so we'll get to the Trey Jones news, but did want to alert everybody of that. As always, like button, subscribe button. What do we got watch right now? 510 watching, 135 likes, 350 is the number. I think that's very easily attainable on this slate. So 350 is the number for the plays of the day. Let's get to the next game on the slate, though. The one I cannot wait to talk about, the OKC Thunder, the Boston Celtics, 229 total. Boston is favored by 12. On the OKC side, Baisley, Mann are out. As far as the Boston side, not much has changed. Malcolm Brogdon still is out as well. What I was saying was Tatum's very expensive at 10.8, but Jaylen Brown's price tag at 8.5K, shooting guard and small forward eligible. I think he is very interesting. And then SGA, below 9K, man, he has been so good this year. I think he is a very strong option when we do have a lot of value on this slate. There's Giddey, there's Horford, Smart. I'll go back to you in this one, AP. Anyone standing out in this one?
Yeah, I mean, if we can trust the rotations here, Shea and Josh Giddey become really strong plays. The problem has been trusting, these OKC rotations. However, they should be pretty tight. Like we do have a couple of guys out, Baisley, and then Trey Mann to being out. So like if the game could stay close, and I think, part of that happening is Shea and Josh Giddey doing their thing. Like, I don't know. I think OKC has the talent mainly in those two guys. And then if you get Lou Dort hitting some shots, I think they'll need Jalen Williams to come off the bench, hit some shots to stay competitive in this one. But if they can do that, Giddey and Shea become really interesting tournament plays, I think. And one of the reasons why I say tournament plays is because the guard's loaded. I mean, we talked about Jaden Ivey, Malachi Flynn, Reggie Jackson, arguably later. You got Jordan Poole and Steph Curry. I mean, there's going to be so many guard options that you can't play them all. And so a guy like Josh Giddey at 6'5", we know what kind of upside he has. I mean, in the preseason, put up a triple-double in one half of play, coming off a 57 piece against the Knicks.
Triple-double.
A tougher matchup here against Boston, but I don't know. I mean, I'm really interested to hear what you guys say, but I don't think Boston, from a defensive standpoint, they've been, doing their thing, but mainly it's offensively. They haven't been it doesn't seem like they've been blowing teams out. It seems like teams have been able to put up decent numbers against them. And so I'm with you, Tidal. I think this game's interesting. Love Giddey, Shea, obviously in play, and then Lou Dort. I mean, look, this dude, I tilt his shot more than anyone. The dude can't shoot. However, over the last 2 games, he's been hitting his shot. So maybe, just maybe, he does enough here to keep this competitive, which would make me like guys like Josh Giddey a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Obviously, the game does have to stay close. But like you said, AP, if it stays close, it has to be because of SGA and Giddey, and they have monster ceilings. And this game should go under-owned. I do not see anyone in this game that's going to garner too much ownership. SGA probably gets the most, but the guard position's loaded. Hoop, Boston, OKC, what are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I like these pieces on both sides. I mean, SGA, Giddey, Jaylen Brown specifically. One other guy that I like is Al Horford, 5.4K. He's been productive in playing sizable minutes, 32, 26, 34 minutes, a nice high floor play. So I like him as well. In terms of like these other guys, though, SGA, Giddey, Jaylen Brown, Tatum. If you're playing those guys, I like pairing them with somebody on the opposite team. So if you're hand building and you're going to play, SGA, I'd like playing Jaylen Brown on the other side because you want this game to obviously stay close. It's a 12-point spread. If it stays close, these guys likely go off. So I kind of want to tie them to each other in tournaments. I think that's a very good strategy for tonight. I'm fine playing Al Horford regardless, but like Giddey, SGA, like if I'm playing those guys, I want some Celtics on the other side. So that's something to take note of if you are hand building teams, or even obviously an optimizer. You can set up some of those rules where you're pairing those guys together. It is, a wide spread here, 12-point spread in favor of Boston. So that's the one thing that I'll be looking to do if playing these stars in this game.
Yeah, 100%. I think stacking is not a must or anything in NBA. It doesn't really mean too much, but the times I use it, just like you said, big spread. If the game is close, someone from OKC is doing something. Giddey and SGA are the obvious pieces. I did see the Paulo news that did just come out. He is ruled out. We did touch on the Magic Charlotte game. We'll touch on it just really quickly. Without him, AP, so I'll go to you first in this one, then I'll go to Hoop. You mentioned Wendell Carter, Suggs, Franz. So we got Carter at 7.5. The price is up there. Jalen Suggs 6.1, Franz 6.8. If there's any other guys you like more, but how would you rank those guys? Are any of them in must territory now? Just strong plays? What are your thoughts with that Paulo news now that we got it?
Yeah, given their price tags, I don't think any of them are like a must, but I do think Jalen Suggs becomes a really good tournament play. We talked about how guard is so loaded. He's just going to get you a little bit different. Maybe get you a little bit different. And then Wendell Carter Jr., I think, becomes a really phenomenal play. Bigs against this Hornets team. Wendell Carter's been a guy. I mean, he's a guy that could put up a good number here. He could get you like 45 plus. Like we know he has upside. Chuma Okeke probably will get the start again. Not a guy that we need to go to. He's, maybe others will flock to him, hopefully, but I think there's better value to be had in other games tonight.
Yeah, Chuma's now up to 4.8K. It's not like he's 38 like he was. So with the Toronto value that we already have, and we still are waiting on some news, I don't think he's a must by any means. Hoop, Franz, Wendell Carter, Suggs, same question. Rank them, any must? What are your thoughts? I
just don't love the price tags, to be honest. And we have other injury news that's more significant, I'd say, on the slate. So, I mean, yeah, all those guys get a little bit of a boost. I don't think anyone would be labeled like a must-play type guy on the slate. It's just the price tags for me. I mean, you're still paying a decent premium. These guys have to do something. So all little boost, but nothing as like a must play now by any means.
I do agree. Before we get to the next game on the slate, want to shout out some members never win in the members never win segment. We got Bull 800 turn $12 into $4,000. C Storms $76 into $4,000 in NBA. Leroy hit for $4,600 in NBA. Our guy right on this panel, AP, $8,000 in NBA. Y guy 223, $12,000 in NBA. Kanoski 69, $22,000 in NFL. Our guy Tyler on the bet side, $29,000 in NFL. Locks $30,000 in NFL. Nadesify $67,000 in NFL. Tambo $61,000 in NFL. And then the man, the homebrew, can't say the man because we have a guy named in the Discord named the man who keeps crushing, but the homebrew who was the man last week, $500,000 in NFL. So congrats to all of you guys. If you do want to get on this segment, I believe we'll probably have a new members never win segment tomorrow. Drop your screenshots in the Discord and you have a chance to get on here under the members never win segment in Discord. 575 watching, 182 likes, 350 is the number for the plays of the day. Still got a couple games left to break down with you though. The next game on the slate, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Phoenix Suns, Miami Heat, 215 total. Miami is favored by 2. We have injury news in this one. We are waiting on Chris Paul, who is questionable, and we are waiting on Tyler Hero, who is questionable. Big news, obviously, in this one, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so I assume we get it before lock. Maybe on this show, we'll touch on it a little after if we do. Otherwise, the Up to Lock show should get it there, and they'll break this news down. But AP, I'll go to you. What does the CP3 news do for you? What does the Tyler Hero news do for you? If they're both in, is it a fade? If they're both out, talk about the what if scenarios in this game, because I think that's the most important.
Yeah, I mean, so the one good thing is a lot of the other pieces that we would normally target are priced up now. Like Campaign is 6.3. And then, Jimmy is 9.1, Bam 8.4. And then Kyle Lowry 7K. We're not playing Kyle Lowry at 7K. I think his price tag.
You might have to speak for yourself. Even Hoop might. Yeah, I'm kidding.
I've had a boner for Lowry all season, but the price that's when he was like 5.6K. The 7K price tag.
That shows he treated you well though.
I got you.
I got you. Price tag. You bought low.
He's coming off.
That is very true. Yeah, but I was talking about him when he was like, he was like 5'6" for the first, I don't know, like 3 weeks of the season, and he'd get like between 30 and 40. That's something I might be interested in. The 7K price tag, not as interested.
So the crazy thing for me is I continue to have to I'll do my stuff. I'll make my adjustments in the optimizer. And then this guy, DeAndre Ayton, continues to pop in there. And I'm like, God, the projections just love this dude. And he's a bum, man. He sucks. And so I always have to literally take 7 or 8 points off of his projection to get him out of there so he doesn't pop in there. And I was getting that earlier again today. So, I mean, it's just crazy. He had one of the better starts to any game that he's had all season long against the Magic in that first quarter. And I think he had 15 DK points in the first.
I played him, I think. Yeah, he had 15.
Yeah, and chat was going no Ayton, no cash, no Ayton, no cash. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Another day
this dude finishes with 27 points. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Oh, man. So, yeah, I'm not playing him. And honestly, it's just this is a game I'm kind of crossing off. So, I mean, you could play, if Hero's out, you could play Jimmy. And if Paul's out, you could play Booker. That's the only places I would get.
I have similar thoughts. I think Booker would be my favorite, if maybe Torrey Craig. But I mean, man, I don't even know if I want to play Torrey. With all the value on this slate, I'm with you. Ayton stands out the most. You don't want that. What are your thoughts, Hoop? I don't see much.
Basically the same thoughts as you guys. I mean, I just, even regardless of the way the injury news falls, I'm just not all that interested. These projection sites have a massive boner for DeAndre Ayton. And like AP said, he just doesn't do anything. I mean, 19, 26, 18, 27 fantasy points. That's like a 5K player. I want Horford over him. Horford actually does shit. The Ayton thing I don't get. It'd just be Devin Booker if Chris Paul's out, not a core player or anything, but a guy I would be interested in. And then with Hero, if he's out, then yeah, Jimmy Butler, but 8-4 for Bam. I don't want to do that on this slate. And then 7K for Lowry. Yeah, like I said, I've been liking Lowry this season, but that's when he was like 5.8K and 6K. Now he's 7K. That's a big difference in terms of what you need. So yeah, just Butler and Booker, if those guys are out, if they're in, I think this game is just a very simple and easy fade.
Yeah, two defensive-minded teams. We look at totals. They don't mean as much in NBA DFS, but lowest total on the slates. If they're in, I think very easy fades. Booker would be my favorite if Chris Paul was ruled out at 9K. We have enough value on the slate. Maybe he's a little contrarian. That's what I see on this one. But I think the worst game environment on the slate. Sounds like these two agree. Next game on the slate, 3 games left. 350 again is the number for the plays of the day. Los Angeles Clippers, Houston Rockets, 219.5 total. Clippers are favored by 5. Jalen Green is questionable in this game. Obviously, big news on the Clipper side. John Wall is out. Kawhi is out as well. I mean, if Jalen Green's out, Kevin Porter Jr., I think he makes a lot of sense in this one. As far as the Clippers side, you can always play Paul George. We do have enough value on this slate, but what are you seeing in this game, Hoop?
Yeah, I mean, Reggie Jackson, I think, kind of stands out as a play, 5.1K. The minutes are there, 33, 36. He had a 24-minute game, but he's 5.1K, and I think he can make some things work on the slate. So somewhat interested in him. Paul George, I mean, it's a really good matchup, but man, I don't know if I can get there. I want to be on more Clippers, but then I just start going through and I was like, where can I go? We kind of talked about it a little bit before the show. AP kind of mentioned it. So I guess Reggie Jackson would probably be my favorite. Luke Kennard at 4K. If you need a value, maybe he's a guy to look at a little bit. But then on the Rocket side, yeah, if Jalen Green's out, we're going to start coming to some of these guys, specifically Kevin Porter Jr. Like you said, 7.2, I think is a great price tag for him. He has a ton of upside. And then Sengun at 6.8K, not the greatest price tag for him, but he offers some upside for sure on this slate. So I want to like this spot a little bit more. I'm just struggling to find the exact pieces though.
Yeah, makes sense. AP, I mean, man, Paul George, he's played him twice so far this year. 75 piece he put up and then a 41 piece. He looks like one of the lower owned studs on this slate, and we do have value. He's interesting. I know you hinted at him a little bit earlier. Reggie Jackson, KPJ news is important, or Jalen Green news is important for KPJ. You hinted at this game earlier. What are your thoughts on this one?
Gosh, I mean, this Rockets team just presents as one of the best matchups on paper that teams are gonna face. Just, they play fast, they don't play defense. Mainly you want to attack them with opposing guards. I look at these spots and I'm like, this Clippers. All right, when you're thinking about the Clippers, it was a rotation thing when they had so many dudes that they could play. That's not really the case right now. Like, no John Wall in there, no Kawhi. Like, I don't know. I feel like Ty Lue needs to condense the rotation, needs to tighten things up a little bit. We need more Norman Powell. So, like, he moved Norman Powell to the bench, and the reason is because this dude's shot was way off. I mean, he was just terrible. Not the case lately, man. I feel like he's found his shot. He's been really good over the last 3 games. I could see in a close game, Norman Powell checking in early and closing and playing upwards of 30 minutes. It's just kind of a guess, a pure speculation. No, I don't think a lot of people are going to play Norman Powell, but this could be one of those spots where when you look at the season and you see Norman Powell 4.8, he's normally should be priced like mid 5K, 5.8K. What I'm saying is, like, I think there is some value in some pieces here, mainly Norman Powell, mainly Reggie Jackson. And then, yeah, as far as studs go, Paul George has to be in consideration here. I like him in builds where we're trying to get 2 studs in there, and maybe like a Giannis and Paul George or Curry, like whoever, one of the other ones. And then you're playing a bunch of value pieces and you're trying to get that monster game, which we've already seen one from Paul George on this year. So, was that game that it was actually against this Houston team too. So we know the upside's there for PG, but this is a spot where I'm just going to take a stand in tournaments. I'm going to get overweight on the guys that I think are the guys that have to produce here. And that's Reggie Jackson, Paul George, and Norman Powell. I'm going to be under on Luke Kennard. I think he's going to be one of the more popular values from this game, not on the slate. And then, Marcus Morris just seems like his price is a little bit too high. Same with Zubac. So, yeah, I think it's a good tournament spot. I'm not as interested in running any piece back unless Jalen Green's out, which gives a nice bump to KPJ.
Absolutely. What Eric Gordon, Jabari Smith, Sengun, would you give any of them a bump if he was out, or just Jalen?
I mean, I like Şengün and like he's fun to watch and stuff, but he's not fun to roster in fantasy. Like the dude can nuke, and then he can absolutely nuke your lineup. So, and he's done a lot more of that than the latter. So, no, I'll probably be off Şengün here.
Yep, makes some sense. We got 2 games left on this slate. Let's look at the likes. 214. 135 more likes for the plays of the day, over 600 watching. Should be very easy. And again, today, a huge day in sports. If you didn't see the Showdown show before this show, make sure you check the NFL Showdown show out. We were talking on this channel, but with the bets guys, Fred and Tyler, broke down the NBA slate. We were talking some football, reviewing last week. So bunch of shows on this channel every day, a lot of money to be made. That big red subscribe button will help you get notified when we go live. The like button always helps us out to get you the plays of the day. And if you want the core plays, playbook, cash chart for NFL, for every sport that's going on, you do need to be a member. Head over on Peer Sports, check it out. You will not regret it. And make sure you do get in the Showdown or in the Discord as well. If you do become a member, you get emailed how to get in the Discord. Make sure you do join that. Bunch of knowledgeable coordinators, members, talking sports, pretty much all hours of the day. 2 games left. We got the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Atlanta Hawks. 225.5 total. The Bucks are favored by 4. No injury news really on the Hawks side. For the Bucks, Drew Holiday is still out. Giannis is back though. These guys played last week, and that was actually Giannis's last game. They had the election day off. Giannis took the game off as well, so he hasn't played in a week, which means his minutes should be good. But because him and Drew have been out, the Bucks prices are way elevated. Bobby 7-4, Javon 6K. Grayson Allen 5-2, Brook Lopez 6-6. With Giannis back, I just cannot get to these secondary Bucks pieces. Always can play Giannis. Should be, I'm not going to say low owned, much better play on FanDuel, and the ownership will reflect where he's 1,100 cheaper, but 12-4 is expensive on DK. As far as the Hawks side, I'm not seeing much. They got a tough matchup. Hoop, what are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, basically what you just laid out. It's Giannis or really nothing for me here. The problem is, like you said, they've been playing super thin lately, the Bucks, and they've gone ahead and bumped up these price tags. I can't pay $6K for Carter, 5-2 for Grayson Allen, Brook Lopez 6-6. I mean, I just can't pay those price tags. So they're just immediately out, and it becomes just Giannis. And then on the Hawks side, they're just not a friendly fantasy team at this point. You know, the Trae Young, DeJounte Murray thing. I don't know. Like, I'd rather probably play Paul George, by himself with a bunch of scrubs going against the Rockets than either of those two guys. And I didn't even really like Paul George all that much. So I just can't do it. The secondary pieces for the Hawks, there's just not enough ball to go around. This game's very clear to me. It's just Giannis, and then I'll be off everyone else.
AP, someone in chat said, Gator Nation, AP NBA cores have been solid. You love to see that. You're not going to give away a core on this show, but I don't know if you can see any core plays in this game, because outside of Giannis, it looks tough to me.
Yeah, I mean, I do like these spots because it just it's easy. We're not playing Javon Carter here. We're too expensive. Like Marjan, we're 4-6 too expensive. Brook Lopez 6-6 too expensive. Bobby Portis 7-4 with Giannis back too expensive. Giannis though, the best player in the world. Man, this dude is title. I don't know how excited I want to get you. I gotta temper what I'm gonna say, but Giannis is man, I'm really impressed with how he's developed his game. Got to the mid-range, now hitting threes, the occasional three. This Bucks team played competitive. They played hard without their key guys all out. Middleton, Drew, Giannis, with this rest over the last few games. I feel like, after this hot start they've had, they gave 2 games back. I feel like Giannis puts the team on his back and puts up a monster number here. I'm talking I could see a 70 piece because look, you got Trae Young, DeJounte Murray on the other side. Clint Capella's playing better. Collins always kind of does his thing, not playing him fantasy wise, but obviously, a decent basketball player. It's going to be a competitive game. I think the Bucks win here. I agree with Vegas. I think it's going to be back and forth, though. And if it was any other type of slate, I would say you could play Trae Young and Giannis, get that back and forth, or even DeJounte and Giannis. But we have better studs elsewhere where it's far more predictable to target than Trae Young or DeJounte. So what you do is you play Giannis and you move on if you can make it fit. And I think today with all the value, I think we're going to be able to make it fit.
Yeah, I agree. If you want Giannis, you definitely can get him. He is more expensive on DK, should keep the ownership lower than on FanDuel, where he's 11.3K. And then someone mentioned in chat, Gregory Daniels, he said 5,900 for Portis. Yeah, you're talking FanDuel. He has a much better price tag on FanDuel, as does Giannis. 5,900 on FanDuel, I think, is definitely in play over there. 7,400 on DK, not so much, is how I look at it. So yes, good point there. FanDuel definitely in play. Ralph, he gave you props as well. Will the freak follow Embiid with a back-to-back 100-piece AP? That's what Daryl's wondering. I don't know if I would bet on that. 100's a lot, but I mean, you don't need 100 to win a slate.
Yeah, you're not going to see that type of performance. I mean, who are the guys that could do it? Giannis, Luka,
AD's
Embiid?
Done it, I believe, or at least.
Yeah. I mean, the old AD, he's not doing it anymore.
Well, when he actually can be on the court for 40 minutes.
Yeah. There's
LeBron
not many
used
options
to do it.
left.
There's not. Yeah. It's Giannis. It's
probably
Embiid,
3 guys.
Luka for sure. Yeah, those 3. Yeah. That is so 6 games on this slate. Man, this like button is hurting. We want to get you the plays today, but you guys still got time. We got 1 game left, but you're going to need a lot of work. We got over 600 watching. If everyone hits that like button, we get up there right away. So hit the like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. We do appreciate it. We have 1 game left. All 6 of those games are at 8 p.m. Eastern or before, an hour after tip. This game is at 10 p.m. Eastern, so 2 hours after. Make sure you check out I believe that Rubio has a Showdown playbook for these. He's been absolutely crushing that. There are contests on DK, so make sure you check out that. As always, Rubio does a good job. But the San Antonio Spurs, Golden State Warriors, 233.5 total. Golden State is favored by 7.5. And we did get that Trae Jones news. He is going to be ruled out in this one. Richardson, I believe, will slide into the starting lineup, is my guess. We're not going to get that news before lock, but Richardson, Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Sochan, Podol is my guess. AP, I'll go to you in this one. Man, like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, their price tags are still good. They're going to chuck. Now they're without Trae Jones, their primary ball handler. How much of a bump do they get when we already have this Toronto value and we have stars on the slate? Can you make it more of a mid-tier build? That's a question I got. Then the other side, I mean, how do you not like Steph Curry? There's Poole. Talk about this game. I think it's an interesting one.
I think this game is really interesting and only got more interesting because if you just think about ball handlers and who's going to be, running things on the Spurs side, it has to be Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and then Josh Richardson as your main guys. I don't know a lot about Jordan Hall, but he's played 1 game in 17 minutes, basically. So you shouldn't expect too much from him. And the other reason why I think it's going to be like this game, like if you stack it up, could in tournaments be the nuts because the Warriors right now are in shambles. Like they are not playing defense. They're playing with pace, and Steph Curry has put this team on his back. Like he's the only guy playing good right now, night in, night out. Even Poole's been kind of off, but man, he becomes an elite play here. Like the Spurs play with pace. They aren't defensively sound, but they have enough talent to keep this game interesting in Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson. And the other thing too is no one's going to play Pirtle and in the bigs here, and bigs have been smashing the Warriors too. So I think you can stack this game up. We've talked about so many really strong plays. The Toronto side, being one of the main points on the slate. But I think, man, if you go underweight, let's just say on the Toronto on that Toronto game, and you aren't stacking that up, and you aren't one of those guys that's how many Torontos too many. This is the other game to go to tonight. Get yourself some Spurs pieces, run it back with Curry and Poole, and I think you're sitting pretty.
I agree. I mean, I didn't even mention, I assume most people watching this knows, but Klay Thompson is also out on the Warriors side as well, which is why Poole gets a bigger bump. Steph gets even a bigger bump. The Trae Jones news makes the Spurs side interesting. I think you can game stack this one up a little bit. Hoop, you'll probably be in the sheets, but hey, it doesn't mean the points aren't the same when you are in the sheets sleeping. So you can be waking up to hopefully some more money in your pocket and stacking.
We'll see. we got football tonight, so I'll be up a little bit later. Yeah, it is funny because it's kind of like a little bit of like an ongoing joke, but I actually stay up relatively late. I mean, I'm up till I don't know about 12 Eastern most nights.
late.
So I'm not like old man like 9 p.m. Eastern. Like I do stay up. Big T makes fun of me because I don't stay up till like 4 in the morning.
Big T doesn't sleep. Yeah,
he doesn't sleep. Yeah, Big T sleeps for like 2 hours. So like if you don't stay up till at least 3. You go to bed early in Big T's eyes. I'm glad we got the Trey Jones news because obviously love the Warriors. Now we got more guys in play on the Spurs side. I think Vassell is a really good play, 6.7K. It's up there a little bit, but man, like he's going to have ball handling responsibilities. He's going to be able to shoot. So in on him, in on Keldon Johnson at 7-1. And Josh Richardson, he's fine. Pirtle, I agree. I always like Pirtle, so you don't have to twist my arm to play Pirtle. So in on him, and he's starting to get that floor back that we saw last year, back-to-back 40-point games, which at 6'7", you'll take. Obviously, the Warriors know Klay Thompson, big boost, obviously, to Curry, Poole, Draymond Green. I think Wiggins is somewhat interesting as well. I mean, he's been playing well. So this is a game you can just load up on. And, it's one of those games where the late night hammer might come into play because there's a lot of really good plays in this game. Happy that Trey Jones is ruled out just because now I can feel more confident playing some Spurs. So really good game for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to mention Wiggins as well. I overlooked him a little bit. I think his ownership will be pretty overlooked as well, but gets a bump without Klay, and he's been playing good basketball. Need him to rebound a little bit as well. So I do like that Wiggins call as well. That is all 7 games on this slate, but we did get the Tyler Hero news. We'll talk briefly about the Hero news because I want to get you the plays today. That's the last chance, the last call for the likes. 350 is what we need for the plays today. Should be very easy with almost 700 watching on this slate. But AP without Hero, I mean, you're still not getting a Lowry at 7K, I imagine, but how does the Jimmy Butler and Bam, 9-1 Butler, 8-4 Bam, how does that compare to like PG at 10-1? Are you going to try and find the 1K more? SGA and Jimmy Butler. Yes, they are different positions. You can usually figure that stuff out though. Like, who do you prefer? Jimmy Butler, SGA 200 apart, Jaylen Brown 8-5. How does Jimmy and Bam compare to others in their price ranges as a stud now with Hero out?
Yeah, I just think they're worse plays because we got better spots, same injury type situations, but better matchups. Clippers, better matchup. Warriors, better matchup. Magic even better matchup. So I'm going to go matchup, pace, all of that over, a tough kind of matchup in the Suns and Heat.
Hoop, what are your thoughts on that? Jimmy Butler, Bam now? All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of going to be the same thing that we talked about when we were on that game. It's probably just Jimmy Butler, but I honestly don't know how much I'll even get to him. I mean, the price tags, it's tough, man. Like Lowry at 7K, like obviously he gets a boost with Hero out, but is it enough to pay off 7K? Not for me. And then, Bam gets a little bit of a boost, but 8-4, I don't think it's enough of a boost. So I'll probably be off of those guys, and then I'll get a little Jimmy Butler, but not going to be like a main guy for me here.
Yeah, I agree. It's still my least favorite game environment on the night. So What news are we still waiting on? Chris Paul, he is questionable as well. And outside of him, Jalen Green, those are the 2 big injury news that we're waiting on this slate. Chris Paul, Jalen Green, Chris Paul plays at 7:30 in that Miami game. Jalen Green plays at 8. So we should get the Chris Paul news on the Up to Lock show. I do not hold. It's a Monday, so Holden's not working. I think K Falik, JSU, DC, I believe, is on the Up to Lock show. Make sure to check that out. The live show chat. They'll answer your questions as always. We have core plays. We have playbook, the cash chart. It's also NFL. We got NFL tonight, monster prize pools. Make sure you check out that Showdown show that was on the YouTube channel. Make sure you check out the playbook, Big T's player pool, all of that as always. A lot of money to be made. Unfortunately, the likes did not get there. It's hurtful. 700 watching, 310 likes. A little hurtful, but we'll get you the plays of the day in the Discord chat. Looking to see some RPS logos up top. Head over Run Pure Sports. Get in the Discord. Get all of our core plays, playbooks, all of that, the premium content. We will see you in the Up to Lock show. Join the live show chat. That's going to do it for us, though. Good luck, everybody, tonight. For Hoop, AP, Simon Behind the Sticks, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.